Hey, now I just did a video which was about Christmas. Naturally, the thing to follow it up with would be one about Halloween, especially seeing as Halloween's already happened. So that's the best time to do a Halloween video after the fact. Now, I've been thinking about this video for a little while. It's come up on a forum I've been a part of. Well, the subject matter has, and it's something that I believe I've had conversations about before with actual people in my real life. And this is the spookiest stories, the most Halloweeny stories per doctor. I'm going to focus on that as a concept as well as quality, as there are some stories which are deliberately spooky, but I don't think are very good or effective. So they're not going to be on the list. These are going to be good, spooky stories, or a good spooky story for each doctor. Something that I would suggest if you want to get spooked. Okay, for the first doctor, this is probably actually the weakest story that's made it onto this list. I'm not saying that Hartnell stories aren't typically dramatic or atmospheric, but his most effective story in that regard is probably one of the weaker stories in his run, which is not saying it's a bad story. He just had a very strong run overall. And the story I'm talking about is The Edge of Destruction. This is the third Doctor Who story ever, and it is a bit of filler. In that they were trying to save money and get something out there. So it's only 2 parts. It's all in the TARDIS, well, mostly in the TARDIS. It is very, very atmospheric. It feels more like a short horror film than it does Doctor Who. Susan wields scissors when she gets possessed. Everyone's very distrusting of one another. It feels dark and gloomy. While I might not love it as Doctor Who, it does work very well as a scary experience, and it still kind of gives me chills watching it. It's not like I'm watching The Exorcist or something, but it is spooky. So I would suggest that if that is what you're looking for, and you want to maybe look into this doctor. Now, it isn't what I would suggest for a first Hartnell story, but if you've seen some of his stuff and you'd like to be spooked a little, try that. Now, for the second Doctor, this is widely considered to be one of his best stories, and this is The Tomb of the Cybermen. This story is, once again, very atmospheric. It feels very much like some kind of a dark spy movie meets a zombie movie, where they're exploring the tombs of the Cybermen, as the title would imply, and they're waking up, and they are not coming in peace. It's a very intense thriller, which holds up wonderfully even after all these years. Now, for the third Doctor, The Demons, this one features Roger Delgado as the Master, which he's always fantastic. It has demons from the planet Deimos, and it does have that whole it's a little bit early for them, but it does have the whole Satanic Panic, Rosemary's Baby feel, and it works well in that regard. Now, for the fourth Doctor, The Brain of Morbius, this is Doctor Who meets Frankenstein, and it is also very relevant for some reasons in regards to continuity, but I don't get too into that in this video. I would suggest it. Also, Sarah Jane Smith's in it, and her and the fourth Doctor have great chemistry. Now, for the fifth Doctor, Snake Dance, this is a sequel to Kinda. You really don't have to have seen Kinda to watch this, but it is advisable. This is a story about a snake monster on an alien planet trying to come back and destroy everything, and it also is about identity and self-control and some very down-to-earth concepts, but it is creepy, and some of Davison's best. I wouldn't say it is his best, but it is up there for sure. For the sixth Doctor, pretty much the only story of his that is consistently praised by fans, and also one of my favorites, is Vengeance on Varos. This is about violence in our media and torture and the struggle to survive this oppressive and destructive society. There are some really intense moments, not real violence, but you see people experiencing extreme pain, and also people get melted with acid, so it's kind of as dark as Doctor Who could get away with at the time. And it's arguable that it didn't get away with it, especially considering the very negative reaction at the BBC to this particular story, which is ironic considering it is a criticism of mindless violence in our media, as well as sort of authority being overexerted. Now, for the 7th Doctor Ghostlight, I could break this down for you. I might one day do a very, very long video breaking down Ghostlight, but right now, all you need to know is it's about evolution in a literal and metaphorical sense, and it is great and weird. For the 8th Doctor, Minuet in Hell, yes, the Chimes of Midnight is probably a little bit scarier, but that is a Christmas-themed story, and we're talking Halloween. Minuet in Hell is basically your standard B-budget horror movie, which is, it brings back the Brigadier, and it's some bad American accents, but it feels very B-budget and raw, and something you wouldn't really expect from Doctor Who. I would suggest it. I'm not going to get into any spoilers, because most people haven't listened to the Big Finished audio stories in the first place, so why would I ruin it for you? Just go and listen to it for yourself. Not perfect, but still a lot of fun. Now, for the 9th Doctor, the Doctor Dances and the Empty Child, a great story from Stephen Moffat, introduces Captain Jack and is just incredibly creepy, and it's why people will always be making "Are you my mummy?" jokes. Now, for the 10th Doctor, yes, you expect Blink. I'm not going to pick Blink because Blink is overrated. Blink is great, but it's not that great. Midnight is the best story, the spookiest story for the 10th Doctor. It is him dealing with humans at their very worst, and it doesn't have a happy ending. So, Blink. No, not Blink. Midnight. Midnight is where you should go. Blink is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not even one of Stephen Moffat's best, so I don't really get why it's so hyped. The Angels are great, but it's not their best use anyway. Speaking of the best use of the Angels, for the 11th Doctor, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. This story is Indiana Jones style horror movie with River Song's back. We are running from killer angels in a maze of the dead. It's a great concept, and it's very well executed. Just a great story. Now, for the 12th Doctor, Heaven Sent is his creepiest story. He is being followed. Not only is it very well written and it's a high concept story, but he's being followed by a ghost from his past of a rotting woman he found in a hot field, and she's being swarmed with flies. You feel like you can smell it in the air, and it really grounds the Doctor in that sort of painful past that he's trying to escape, and just this feeling that death is behind every corner, and it's just this sinking, rotting feeling, which it instills in the audience that it really works. Perfect for Halloween viewing. And yes, we've only had the 13th Doctor for a little while, but their most recent episode, while not perfect, is probably the creepiest arachnids in the UK. Giant spiders eating Kevin. That's Kevin. Poor Kevin. Anyway, if you disagree with my list, feel free to tell me. If you agree, that's great, and you can feel free to leave a comment, and we can talk about that. Whatever you do, like, subscribe, and you have a great day.